You're on the clock with Tyler Jennings and Jared Perkins, a Prospects Live podcast for everything MLB Draft related. Join us as we discuss the biggest stories from college and high school baseball, bring you interviews from your favorite draft prospects, and break down live looks with Prospects Live analysis across the nation. Get ready, because you're on the clock with Tyler Jennings and Jared Perkins.
Alrighty, welcome to another episode of On the Clock by Prospects Live. I'm Jared Perkins, that's Tyler Jennings, and we have an incredible guest with us today. Left-handed pitcher Jonathan Santucci out of Duke from Leominster, Massachusetts. Jonathan, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. Just for the viewers who don't know you, the first question we kind of always ask guys is just give a little bit of background of yourself, kind of your journey through amateur baseball.
Yeah, so I'm from Leominster, Massachusetts. That's where I've grown up my entire life, and that's where my entire family's from and has been from. So kind of everything I know has been circulated around Leominster. Grew up here, went to public school here, and then when I got to high school, I went to Phillips Academy, a boarding school about 45, 50 minutes away from here. And then from there, kind of went through the recruiting trail and things like that, mostly as a outfielder, and then decided to go to Duke, and then that's where I've been the last 3 years.
Yeah, I love it. Question I have for you, because this being from New England as well, I'm from Rhode Island area. Did you ever have trouble kind of just getting eyes on you? Just because I know like the colder weather prep, our schools up there in New England always have some trouble with that. Did you have to do anything special kind of to get out there?
I feel like once I got to like the kind of junior and senior year of high school, kind of started going down south a little more, especially earlier on in the year, maybe like the end of the fall, in the Georgia, or Florida, or Alabama area, and then kind of maybe a couple tournaments in January too, as well, just to try to get playing a little earlier than usual. But growing up, I mean, I feel like everybody's kind of on an even playing surface, but I felt like if I wanted to take an advantage and get ahead of the 8 ball, I guess, I thought it was necessary to go down there a little earlier.
Yeah, makes sense. Tyler, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I did want to ask you, because obviously last season your season got ended pretty early because of a elbow fracture, but kind of just talk about the rehab and getting back into the game after that, because I know that was probably not the easiest thing to recover from, but came back out and we're still in the mid-90s in the fall, so kind of just talking through that.
Yeah, so it happened end of March last year, got surgery a couple weeks into April, and then spent the rest of the school year, rest of the season, and all of the summer rehabbing. After school ended and we lost in the Super Regional, came home and did all my rehab and worked out at Cressy in Massachusetts all summer. So I thought that put me in a really good position, just get back into the swing of things once I got back to school in the fall. So kind of just did an extended throwing program all summer. Kind of just took my time, because at that point it wasn't really necessary to rush back into things, even though I probably could. Just take my time and make sure everything's feeling good. And then the second I got back in the fall, got off the mound for the first time and kind of went from there. But last summer was when I made the decision like to focus on pitching as well. So I think that was a big transition as well in my baseball career.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of pitching, your 3-pitch arsenal is one of the best in the country, with an electric fastball, a really good slider, and the changeups even come across as, in my opinion, above average too. Kind of just talk us through your arsenal and how you utilize it.
Yeah, I feel like everything plays off my fastball really well, and I think when I am able to establish my fastball is when I'm at my best, especially in the top half of the zone. Just with like the carry I get on it that's where I try to live. So just based on that, just kind of utilize that as much as possible, and then be able to use my slider a lot, especially this year. Just be able to like manipulate the shape of it a little bit, throw it slower, a little firmer at times based on the hitter, and things like that. And then just the changeup's just been a pitch I've been working on the most, I feel like, throughout the last year and just like kind of tinkering with little things and see what feels best. And not for that, I just kind of just try to throw like a fastball as much as possible and kind of just let the natural pronation and things like that get the movement and kill the spin and things like that. But I think just everything tunnels really well for me, which is why I think they all have a good amount of success.
Cool. And kind of do want to ask you, 'cause I've had coaches tell me who their toughest, batter to get out was this year. Is there anyone that sticks out in your mind who was like a really tough out this year that you faced?
Um, I would just say like James Tibbs, obviously player of the year. I think when we faced him, he had more home runs and strikeouts on the year. So obviously, that's someone you have to dig in a little deeper for. So I would say him. Nick Kurtz is always up there. Just obviously a couple of the top hitters in the country, and respect them. So yeah.
Love it. The one question I was going to ask, you talked about solely focusing on pitching. Do you miss hitting at all?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know necessarily hitting in the games part, and like
Yeah.
EP and shagging in the outfield. Obviously, I miss, but I've made the transition to golfing more to get that combination down. So I've been golfing instead of hitting.
Now I want to ask, would you, as a batter, take yourself deep as a pitcher?
No.
Throwing that one out the window.
Yeah, I think there's a chance.
Love it. You talked a little bit about switching to golf too, and that was going to be another one of my questions I was going to ask. What are some of your passions away from the game? What do you do kind of to reset when you get off the field and kind of step away?
Yeah, so golf obviously is something me and my friends did a lot of this year, especially in the fall. But I feel like just the most of the part is just hanging out with all my buddies. My grade at school is really close, and we all live together. Like we're right next to each other in the same apartment building.
Cool.
So I feel like we did a really good job of kind of separating the baseball part from the personal life. So like getting off the field, like we very rarely talked about baseball. And I thought that was a really good like reset every single day and just allowed us kind of to be kids again, I guess. Just so I would just say like hanging out with them, video games sometimes, but anything to do outside and stay active, I feel like you'll find me there.
Yeah, I gotta imagine that's huge, given that baseball's just such a game of failure, right? So like you don't want to take those bad performances home, or even like those good performances, having that opportunity to just kind of reset and get you ready for the next outing.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other question I was going to ask too, a little bit here is, what would you say is your biggest success for 2024, and kind of what are you looking forward to, kind of as those next steps?
Yeah, I mean, this year going into the year, obviously, is just to stay healthy. And I feel like when that happens, everything else kind of falls into place. But winning the ACC tournament a couple weeks ago was definitely something me and my teammates have been looking forward to and we're striving for. And that was just a really cool experience, even though I didn't get to pitch in it. But just being there and experiencing that was definitely something that I'll remember forever. And then just looking forward, just kind of taking it day by day and just staying ready, kind of battling back from that little injury I had like a month and a half ago, and just getting back into the swing of things too. Just kind of taking it day by day from there.
Love it, Tyler. I'll turn it.
Yeah, I did want to ask this one question because I did see AJ and Kyle were invited to collegiate camp in a couple weeks. So you have experience with them back in I think it was 22.
Yeah.
Kind of just dive into that experience and what it was like being around some of the best players in the country.
Yeah, you definitely. I mean, being one of the youngest kids there that year, I think there was only like 11 or 12 freshmen there out of the 55 kids. So just being there and kind of, it's a big like goal of a lot of kids in college, and just being able to say you're in that conversation as one of the top players in the country. That was just a big accomplishment, and being able to face them and watching, just learning a lot from them. And then you see the draft last year, and then you kind of like, you don't realize it in the moment, but like looking back on it, you're like, wow, I got to play with and against all those kids. So it's pretty cool and getting to know them and things like that.
Yeah, and I also did want to ask because Kyle Johnson is another lefty you guys have that came in this year and just looked really good. Was there anything that you two like worked on together? Did you mentor him at all, or kind of just talk us through a relationship if there was one there?
Yeah, he's my locker mate, so I got to talk to him every single day. He's a lot like me at first, like thinks of himself more as a hitter than a pitcher. So a lot of similarities there, but he's a great kid, really good work ethic. I think he's up in the Cape right now before he goes to the USA. So just kind of talk through things because I've experienced it all before, and he's still new to everything for the most part. So just try to be there for him as a kind of mentor, and if you had any questions about anything, because we're in a very similar boat. So, or we're in a very similar boat. So just kind of being there for him. Yeah.
Awesome.
Love it. So we're going to go into a couple rapid fire questions just to close things out. Just more a little bit fun questions. So what's a go-to restaurant either in your hometown or by Duke?
New place in Durham that I started going to a lot with my friends is Juju, a little Asian restaurant. Really good.
Love it. Love it. What's a go-to sport outside of baseball? I imagine it might be golf, but is there one that you go to watch?
Love watching golf, and then college football, NFL. That's big in my dorm.
Love it. And then the last question I got for you is golf game. What's the best part of your golf game?
Definitely my driving.
Not the putting yet?
No, short game's not there yet. I'm working on that still.
Love it. Tyler, do you got any rapid fire for?
I do have one. Ben Miller's mustache.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, he had a pretty good year, so I can't say anything about it. Second the year ended, he shaved it, so but it worked for him, so got to keep going.
So he did already shave it?
Yeah, he shaved it the second we ended.
Oh, come on. I wish he had kept that. It was really cool. I loved it.
I think he'll grow it back probably next year before the season starts.
Perfect. I love it.
Amazing. Jonathan, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us on the Clock. We're wishing you nothing but success as you kind of look towards the draft and figure out all your future plans. So, again, thank you for joining, and we'll be watching.
No, thank you very much.